Bonsoir. Good evening. Welcome to Renegade Chicago. Reba and I are here. He's worked so hard. You know, it's a tough day being a puppy. So tonight we are going to, thanks to Crook County for suggesting this clip. We're gonna watch Jimmy Kimmel spoke to Don Lemon about his time in being arrested and just his work doing independent journalism. You know, Don Lemon was a reporter that used to work for CNN, and now he's doing independent journalism, which is what I'm doing and what we're encouraging people to do. We need more independent citizen journalists. So, so give me 1 second. And that was so sweet. There's an Hispanic guy. He lives in Harvey, and he was like, "Oh, I heard you're running for mayor. I support you." I was like, "Oh, okay." Well, he didn't hear totally accurately, but still, I love the I appreciate the support. And Jonathan, maybe if we have time, that's what we'll do tonight too. We'll watch Jonathan's interview that he did with, I think, Telemundo or something. I was very proud of him. Okay, hold on. And someone's asking for the link. Let me send him the link. He wants to watch the live tonight too. All right.
Man who on Thursday night was arrested for committing journalism, which is a very serious crime under our current administration. Joining us now to share all the incredible details, please welcome Don Lemon.
And he's a cutie. You know, I didn't realize he was gay. I guess I'm a bad gay because Crook told me that. And I was like, what?
Well, thank you for being here. I hope you're okay. I hope you're mentally okay after what happened to you. How are you?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, that's a really that's an honest answer. I don't know. I mean, I'm okay, but I'm not going to let them steal my joy. But this is very serious. I mean, these are federal criminal charges.
Yeah, and time in prison can change a man, even if it's just one night.
Yeah, well, not yet. Don't get ahead of yourself, Jimmy. There's no prison yet.
So for anyone who doesn't know, you are not a favorite of Donald Trump's.
No.
Going back to your days at CNN. No. You're not on his top 10 list.
But he says he doesn't know me. He goes, "Oh, I don't know who he is."
He doesn't know who you are, but he doesn't like you.
Yeah.
Okay. And on January 18th, is that correct? You were covering a protest.
Yes.
So again, if you're just watching us, yeah. Hey, Left Connect. Thank you. You found me. Thank you for tuning in. What up, party people? You lie. Wait, what? What did I lie about? Oh, about not knowing that he was gay? No, I don't know if I knew that. But yeah, honestly, I haven't really followed his reporting very closely, but you know, I've always thought he was cute. I knew he was on CNN. Oh, okay, that's what you're talking about. Yeah. Crook County, thank you for catching this interview, man, because I was kind of like, oh, what do I talk about tonight? I think we covered a lot about Harvey last night, but do remind me, Crook, that I will get on. I do want to play Jonathan's interview that he did at last night's meeting with, I think, Telemundo or something, because you know that was nice that they showed up. Anderson Cooper, yes, he is gay, but I'm not a fan. I don't know. I can't necessarily say that he's really an advocate for the people. I don't know. I don't want to hold it against him either, but I know he's from like I think the Vanderbilt family, so he's like from very, very bourgeois roots, like definitely the rich that control society for sure.
Church in St. Paul, Minnesota, an anti-ICE protest. Apparently there's a pastor at the church who's also a local ICE official, which is, I think, just as Jesus would want. And
right? Can you believe that? That's so embarrassing. Like, how could you be like, Jesus literally was a figure, if you believe the Bible, the literature, that he hung out with all the rejects of society and cared for people that other people look down upon. And then you have pastors defending ICE.
I believe we have some B-roll. Protesters interrupted the Sunday service, and you followed them in. You interviewed various people in the church, and afterward, well, you were arrested. Now, first I want to ask you, is there a difference between whether those protesters had the right to go into a church and whether a credentialed journalist like yourself had the right to go in and cover them going into the church?
Well, listen, obviously I'm in the middle of this, so I can't say a lot. There's a lot that I cannot say, but what I will say is that I'm not a protester. I went there to be a journalist. I went there to chronicle and document and record what was happening. I was following that one group around, and so that's what I did. I reported on them, and so, but I do think that there is a difference between a protester and a journalist.
So the next day, Trump reposts something from someone saying that you...
Yeah, I mean, does that sound unreasonable to anyone? I don't think it sounds unreasonable. Left Connect says, "Oh yeah, just making sure your gaydar isn't totally broken." Oh yeah, no. I knew it. I knew about him. Yeah, for sure. Mr. Cooper, because Anderson Cooper and what's his name, the other gay guy at CNN, they'll do the New Year's Eve, right? Jonathan definitely lining up his piece. That's an expression, right? I'm probably just blanking on that. But yeah, so far it doesn't sound like Don did anything crazy. He was just reporting.
You should be arrested. You should be sentenced in prison for violence.
So Trump says a small group of elderly ladies were protesting at an abortion clinic and were given 40 years in prison for violating the FACE Act. I would like to see the same kind of sentence for Don Lemon and the people that broke into that church and did that during services. What?
Violating the FACE Act. And at this point, are you thinking, oh, I might get arrested?
Well, not until they started, the drip of people starting to talk about it. I think Todd Blanche and Pam Bondi and all those folks talked about it. And here's the interesting thing, though, is that after that, I retained an attorney. Mm-hmm. And the attorney reached out to them and said, basically, I understand that you have an interest because your folks have been talking about it. And so if you are serious about this, then let's do it the right way. He's perfectly willing to self-report it, which means turn yourself in. And so we don't have to go through this whole rigmarole, and never heard back from them.
That is customary in a situation like this, that someone would be allowed to turn themselves in.
Yeah, people who are accused of much worse things than I am accused of doing, is they are allowed the courtesy. I mean, Donald Trump was allowed the courtesy to turn himself in when he was.
That's right.
He did, yeah.
And
good one. I love that. That was good. Smart.
Then the DOJ goes around and tries to find, and correct me if I have any of this wrong, some judges to charge you. And the judges say, no, we're not going to do that.
I think it was 2 different judges and an appeals court. I think so. It was 3 altogether.
And then they find a grand jury.
Right.
And do you know, are you familiar with how that happens? Like, how do they find this group of people who are willing to bring charges against you?
I don't know. I'm not that, astute with it, but at least I don't know the process that well because I'm not an attorney, but, I assume that they...
But if they went on TV, sorry, no, I always wanted to say that. This prosecution's absolutely insane. Right. I don't see a point to this, So I'll reach out to him and see if we could line up an interview this week. To Don Lemon, Kirk? You know Don? All 5 of the journalists who are arrested have been Black. Oh, really? Oh, man. He's on top of his campaign is what I'm saying. Right. You got to get that YouTube premium. Well, you know what? My PayPal and my Venmo and my Cash App are on the bottom, so feel free to donate, people. I'm definitely not a Vanderbilt, so just trying to use my meager salary, I don't have a salary, my meager earnings to do all my work.
They figure out who the folks are and they send it to them, and then they write up the indictment as to what they are, what they want charged, and then they give it to them. But you can write whatever you want to in an indictment. As I've been doing some research, you can say whatever you want, and for even if you lie about it, prosecutors can pretty much say what they want with impunity, and they don't face any sort of consequence.
The activists who went into the church were arrested,
right?
And you were,
which is crazy,
arrested. Georgia Fort, who's a local journalist in Minnesota, was also arrested along with you. And how is she doing? I assume you're in close touch with her?
I'm not in contact with her.
You're not?
I cannot be at this point.
Okay. You cannot be. Oh, interesting. Okay. So take us through what happened. It was Thursday night when they came to get you,
yeah.
Right? Okay.
When they got me.
You're here in LA.
When the popo came.
Yeah.
You got to laugh at something, right? But look, it's very serious. I had gone.
I have not been arrested by federal people, but I know how that is being arrested, and it can be scary because you're like, what the hell? I didn't do anything wrong. Poor guy.
I was here to cover the Grammys. I was going to do the red carpet, and I had gone to the Black Music Collective event that night, where the importance of Black music and artists and whatever. And the reason I cover it is because of the First Amendment, the freedom of expression, and the art of music is part of that. And then I'd gone to the Spotify party, and it's all young people, and they're like, Mr. Lemon, oh my God, I love watching you on TikTok. And I'm like, wow, that's different than my grandma loves watching you on CNN, so it's a whole new audience. And I got back to the hotel. I walked in had my swag bag from the thing, and I was walking up to the room, and I pressed the elevator button, and all of a sudden I feel myself being jostled, and people trying to grab me and put me in handcuffs, and I said, what are you doing here? And they said, we came to arrest you. And I said, who are you?
What?
And finally they identified themselves, and I said, if you are who you are, then where's the warrant? And they didn't have a warrant, so they had to wait for someone from outside, an FBI guy, to come in to show me a warrant on a cell phone. And by that time I was like trying to figure out what was going on to get my bearings, and they dropped all my stuff, my glasses.
That is why that's why I'm so, the older I get, I'm so, against not only capitalism, but the way, police and all those authorities are run. Unfortunately, it just reminds us that they serve people who are rich and have land and resources and power, unfortunately, I know we say we're a country of law, but too often you see these things happen.
Had fallen on the floor. I'm like, I can't read that. So they had to pick my glasses up, and I read it, and still, what does that mean? So, and then there was a bunch of guys, and they took me outside. FBI guys were out there. I mean, it had to be maybe a dozen people, which is a waste, Jimmy, of resources, because I had told them weeks before, and maybe once or twice,
right?
That we would, I think my attorney tried to contact them once, maybe twice, that I could just go in, and it would have to be the folks who are just working there that day, and they wouldn't have to have all these people following me.
And so they do this to intimidate people and to create drama. So stupid. Oh, Jonathan, for the interview. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, definitely. Yes. I still want to, we'll have to connect, Crook, you and me and Jonathan, for sure. Yeah, I'm excited about him. At least he's running for first ward. I'm happy about that.
It's more than just a waste of resources. So they grab you and they take you where?
Well, you're right about more than just a waste of resources. They want that. They want to embarrass you. They want to intimidate you. They want to instill fear. And so that's why they did it that way. They took me down to a holding place in the federal courthouse.
and they give you mugshots, strip search, all of that stuff?
No strip search.
Oh.
But mugshot, fingerprints, the whole 9 yards. Twice.
Do they put you in a cell?
I was in a holding room.
You're in a holding room.
Yes.
And how long are you in that holding room?
From about midnight, 12:30 to 1 or so the next day.
Who did you make your one phone call to?
Here's the interesting thing. I didn't have a one phone call. I never had
Isn't
a one.
that, wait a minute, I watched.
See, that's how it was for me when they arrested me in Dixmoor. Same thing. Yep, they just threw me in the cell to try to intimidate, embarrass me when I was covering a public school meeting because they didn't like that I was uncovering corruption. And then I kept bugging the officer, like, I get a call. He knew that, and he just sat his big butt in the chair and didn't do anything.
Watch a lot of TV.
I know. That's right. I asked them, do I get my one phone call, Jimmy? They said, no, you don't. You get to talk to your attorney whenever the court says that you can. And so that wasn't until the next day. But I tell you how I got it out. I had my Apple Watch on in my phone. And I called my husband. I said, hey, Siri, call Tim. And he was asleep. Went to his voicemail. And then I said, hey, Siri, call Abby Lowell, who's my attorney, and went to his voicemail. He was traveling back from someplace. And finally, I got into the front of an FBI agent's truck, and they had the handcuffs on me. And my bracelet, I had on a bracelet that my husband bought me for our wedding, which was this diamond bracelet.
Damn, that's nice. Diamond bracelet. But yes, I was going to say, can anybody identify? Has anybody else been arrested before unjustly? It's a very frustrating experience, and they do it on purpose.
And it kept getting caught, and it was kind of hurting, and they said they'd take it off. And I said, do you mind taking that up to my husband in room blah, 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 blah. And one of the FBI agents said, sure, and took it up, and that's how my husband found out. Otherwise, no one would have known where I was.
Wow. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with Don Lemon.
Make no mistake, under President Trump's leadership and this administration, you have the right to worship freely and safely. And if I haven't been clear already, if you violate that sacred right, we are coming after you.
If no one ever taught you how to manage your money.
Like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? Who is not free to worship?
Lemon, that is Pam Bondi, our Attorney General, lying to us, using her freedom of speech to lie. And I think it's worth noting that last year, the Trump administration made it legal for ICE agents to enter houses of worship, schools, healthcare facilities, but they're saying that it's not okay for journalists to do the same thing. I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
You, while you're in custody overnight, we're talking about being in a holding cell, and what's going through your mind? Like, what are you doing? How do you pass that time?
Well, the entire time it happened, I said I thought it might happen, and my attorney, called them or emailed them and reached out to them. It never heard back. But the entire time I was thinking that I'm a journalist, and I just start thinking in my head, how many agents are there? Who am I riding in the truck with? Like, I wanted to keep mental notes of that. I couldn't, obviously I didn't have a phone or anything to write it down. So that's what I was doing, sort of, people count their steps. I just kept chronicling in my head, what I was doing, what I was seeing, what was happening. Every time I needed to go, because it was a holding room, every time I needed to go to the restroom, I had to knock on the door. They had to come and get me and then take me to the bathroom and stand there while I was peeing. So yeah, it was bizarre.
It's so horrible. I want to say I can't believe it, but I mean, I do believe it. It's really sad.
The act of courtesy that FBI agent extended to you, were you treated well?
So not by the guys that arrested me, obviously, but not all federal agents are the same. And the guys who work for Homeland Security and the FBI are not the guys that you see out there on ICE, who had 47 days of training, who are, violating people's due process rights. They are completely different people. And I have always had a very good relationship with law enforcement, especially federal law enforcement, because I used to do these franchises when I was in local news called, FBI's Most Wanted, right? The Alabama's Most Wanted, or New York's Most Wanted, or whichever market I was in. And so these guys were professional, they were courteous, and they were kind, but not the original Homeland Security guys that took me in.
When did you realize that this was a very, very big story?
I had no idea. I had a little bit of an idea when I asked to use the restroom and, sort of early in the morning. I wasn't sure what time. I didn't have a watch or anything, so I didn't know. And so I go out and they open the door to the room where the agents, they're housed, or their office, and there was CNN on a monitor. And on the thing I could see, former CNN anchor Don Lemon arrested in Los Angeles. And I was like, and I said to the guy, I was like, I said, is that happening a lot? He goes, you've been on all morning.
Yeah.
And he says, this is a big deal.
That's
but I still didn't, I still didn't know how big a deal it was, Jimmy, I swear.
And, I'm sure, again, if you've ever been arrested, I think that's a common experience where it's just so dehumanizing. A lot of times they don't tell you. They don't tell you things. You may not get your call you're supposed to get. It's, I really don't agree with the way that is set up with the power of the state. It gets abused way too often.
Where do you? I walked out. My attorney said to me on the phone, finally, when I got out, he said, I prepared a statement. You can rewrite it and edit it, but you need to deliver the statement. I'm like, deliver it to who? Like, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
They said, the people who are waiting outside.
Or to whom?
And so I go, my husband and I walk out, and I see this, like,
hubby.
I mean, I don't know how many reporters and paparazzi and helicopters. I had no idea. And I asked my husband, I said, what happened with the channel today? Because I was concerned about, that's my livelihood and my channel and my viewers. And he said, the channel's been going all day. We have your Monique Presley, who is an attorney and a friend, and other folks who were filling in for me. And they said every journalist that has been calling in and coming on the show. It's been going for about 9 hours.
You got a lot of support from your fellow journalists.
Now that is good to hear. At least that's how it should be,
Yeah. And I want to thank everybody for all of their support, especially the journalists, especially the people out there. I mean, it's been amazing just walking down the street or wherever I am, and people will say, they're good to see you. It's good to see you. I said, yeah, it's good to be seen. But it's a lot of support.
You said this is the best thing that ever happened to you. Did you want to thank him for this?
No, he doesn't know who I am, remember? He's never seen me before.
Oh, gosh.
And like many recently freed prisoners, you went right to the Grammy Awards events, like a young Suge Knight. You attended the...
Well, I was in Los Angeles, and what my attorney said is, live your life. You were there to cover. What I did not do, I didn't cover, because I thought it was a little odd.
Well, you were the news then, yeah.
Yes, right. And it was a little odd for me going, hey, what dress are you wearing? Or, who do you think is going to win Best Artist? So, but I was there because, again, I believe it's freedom of expression, and I think artists are extremely important for us at this time, just as I think journalists are as well.
Absolutely. And I agree with that. Absolutely. Oh, hey, Left Connect. I'll send it to you. I mean, not that it's a secret. It's on riotsgaychicago.com, my website, but yeah, I'll send it to you.
A couple of weeks ago, this reporter named Hannah Nathanson of the Washington Post.
Her house raided or searched.
The FBI went to her house, and I feel like it didn't get much attention at that time.
Because people are afraid. And look, I have lots of great friends who work in corporate media, but corporate media has been neutered right now.
Yes, this is what I wanted to get to. I'm so enthusiastic about that. Wait, hold on, though. Let me send you my number before I forget. What do you guys think so far of the interview? That's the biggest thing that I wanted to point out was the corporations, the rich, the 1%, the capitalists, whatever you want to call them. They always love to control the media, right? Because it's about controlling the message and the information, and we need local independent journalists. It is critical.
They are afraid. And that's the reason I'm so happy with what I do, because I'm closer to the ground. I've always been, even when I was in corporate media, I wanted to be on the scene. I didn't want to be on a tripod when they call them sticks. I'm like, no, I want to be mobile. I want to get out and talk to people. As I do now, I'm a man on the streets. It's like, that's kept me relevant in this time because I go out and I just talk to people. Sometimes I do it
agree.
live. I never know what they're going to say. Some people hate me. They go, I don't like you. You're stupid or whatever. But all of it, I'm here. I'm doing it because it's closer to the ground. And I think that right now, we don't need the gatekeepers. We don't need the people saying,
Absolutely.
well, careful what you say, because we need
Yes! Oh my gosh, I could not agree more. So good job, Crook, in finding this interview. I absolutely agree with him. I don't know what you guys think, but I get so tired of the gatekeepers and the people that are just so like he said, they're afraid of losing their job, they're afraid of saying the wrong thing. And what we need instead is we need like accurate reporting of what's going on.
access to the president, or we don't want to lose this interview for the morning show, or you know what I'm saying? Or we need to get our mergers and acquisitions done in Washington, so don't piss off the president or he might sue us. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I think there's a real need right now. This is an important time. This is not time for folly. It's not time for for false equivalence and putting people on television and on news programs, giving them a platform who come on just to lie. And I think
yes, and you know what? That is the bulk of journalism today. I don't know if you guys agree with that or if you think that, but seriously, that is like the bulk of what happens today.
I think people are sick of that. Some things are objectively bad, Jimmy, and you don't have to, just because you say something critical of Donald Trump or a Republican, it doesn't mean that you have to go and say something, oh, well, the Democrats or Joe Biden. It's no. Some things are objectively bad, and I think it's important in this time to point that out.
Right. Although I would say that the Democrats are also bad because they're both the approved corporate fascist parties, but yeah.
I'm going to give you a plug, because this is a way you can support independent journalism. Don Lemon, his show, The Don Lemon Show, it's live at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern every weekday on YouTube. That's a lot of work. Huh?
That's YouTube, yes. YouTube, Twitch, and anywhere you get streaming. It's a lot of work, live every single day, every weekday, 2 hours. So like and subscribe to The Don Lemon Show on YouTube. Become a member. Subscriptions are free. Memberships are very reasonable. And so, but seriously, you need to support independent journalists in this time. I think that's going to carry us.
That's right.
Yes, I totally agree. I absolutely agree. Absolutely. Oh, and thank you, leftists. Speaking of support, thank you for sending me a contribution for my work. I really appreciate that. Very much appreciate that. Shout out to Left Connect. Thank you, Left Connect. No, Naomi Chomsky, Noam? You mean Noam Chomsky? The filters of media, yeah. It's all corrupt corporate access. Oh, wait, what's stenography? But yes, it is. It's all corporation. Support other independent people. He doesn't need your money. Oh, that's true too. Yes. I think Don Lemon's probably pretty good. He's handsome. He's got a hubby giving him a diamond necklace. So yeah, he's probably pretty good. Thanks, Left Connect. Oh, it was something with spell correct? Okay. Left Connect is one of my heroes. To the end of time. I did a YouTube. I was covering this meeting at Cal City. Was that last week or the week before? And yeah, we were waiting on a break, and I was like, let's try one of these challenges. If somebody gives me a super chat, I'll sing your name. I'll write a little song for your name. So Beth donated to me, and I wrote a little song for her. But yeah, I should do that again. That was fun. I have multiple talents. I can teach French and English. I can sing. I was a voice major. I have a cute dog. You gonna fall off the couch? Look at him. Look. Oh, he was so close. He was gonna fall off the couch. Anyway, yes, thank you. Doesn't YouTube take 30% of super chat? They do take a percentage, right? That's why I give my Cash App, Venmo, PayPal at the bottom. Okay, excuse me. You know, that way you still have to pay taxes on it, but right, you don't have to give the chunk to YouTube. So you got it, Left Connect. Bingo.
Thank you, Don.
And
Thank
Jimmy,
you very much.
thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
We're behind you.
And everything that you've gone through.
Don Lemon,
Thank you.
everybody. We'll be back with Alex Honnold.
Yeah, that was good. So let's find him on YouTube. Let's check it out. Let's see, Don Lemon. Let's see what kind of channel he has. Don Lemon. Oh, look, he came right up there. Don Lemon invades church services. Invades church services? He does not invade. That's weird too. Right. Okay, Don Lemon. Should I be nice and subscribe? A variety of guests and newsmakers. Okay. Live twice a day. Let's see some of his shows. DOJ targets Black journalists with Joy Reid. Panel on race. Donald Trump and the Epstein files, the shocking Epstein bombshells. Lemon drops. Oh, I get it. Ha ha ha. Very clever, Don. Very clever. Nicki Minaj sellout? Yes, of course she is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, did you guys see that too? What do you guys think about Brian Tyler Cohen? I know I've heard about him. I see some of his posts sometimes. I don't know if I've watched any of his videos. So it looks like he has some interesting stuff. I mean, I don't know if I would necessarily Don Lemon on Elon Musk interview gone wrong. David Pakman show. Okay. Oh, I've heard of David Pakman. But yeah, I don't know if I would necessarily, call him maybe a true leftist, but better than what you're going to see in corporate media, probably. He has a set schedule. Super show. Brian Tyler Cohen is a DNC Zionist shill. Is he? Oh, David Pakman too. So he's what? See, that's my fear about all these leftists. I don't always trust them. Damn. So they're really bought and paid for too. Hi, hey Beth, just saw your streaming, Ram. Hey, yeah, I'm trying to be consistent every night at 10, Beth, as much as I can to check in, even if I don't have that much to report, just to get in the habit of having that conversation. Left Connect, yeah. See, they're sellouts. I'm so glad to have a leftist, a fellow leftist on with me tonight. Left Connect, you can always come. I can always tell you who's legit or not. Yes, right. Because I'm like, I feel like if you're taking corporate money, but definitely, if you're a Zionist, you're supporting Israeli terrorism, and Israeli fascism. Like, there's certain things that definitely, it's like, no, that's a no for me. It's a no for me, for sure. Should we find Jonathan's interview? Let us go find Jonathan's interview. If someone is not anti-capitalist, they're not a lefty. Exactly. They're not a lefty. Right. Exactly. You've got to be anti-capitalist, and you have to educate yourself and I can try to do that too on my 10 p.m. shows, right? It doesn't all, it's Ryan's Gay Chicago. So basically it's whatever I want it to be. It's my show. So, you know, maybe I can help add to that education, that leftist educational piece, even as I'm learning. I was listening to a show earlier on Stalin, about some of the history of Stalin and just all the lies that we've been told over our lives, you know, in the U.S. about how these different communists and communist countries and communist leaders were so horrible, when many times they were actually doing a lot of good in the world, but they were not for corporations and, you know, the few rich people, basically, that you can call capitalists, that control society. So then we got like all this propaganda taught to us, you know, about like, well, like Trump is doing right now, right? He's trying to say that Cuba is a danger and that we're almost like he wants to invade, like the stuff he was trying with Venezuela. Like, Cuba is not a danger. Stop listening to the propaganda, people. I'm on a bobsled, Cool Runnings. What, Greg? I'm certainly not a MAGA. Hey, Beth. I hear you. Hola, buenas noches, Beth. The BS Red Scare. Right. There's always Red Scare crap going on. So I was listening to this podcast about Stalin, and it's like 3 hours long. So it's the show. So it's not, I haven't even, there's still a lot left. But they were saying how, okay, remember how in school, were you taught that Stalin like starved a whole bunch of people in Ukraine? Like, I remember you know, sort of learning about that, right? So these guys were going in depth about it, and they said, actually, William Randolph Hearst, do you remember learning about him and the term yellow journalism? Now, I did learn that in public school, but he was this huge like wealthy guy, like the Rupert Murdoch of his day. He controlled a good majority of the media at the time in the United States, and he was a fascist. Like he literally paid Mussolini like big bucks and you know, to work for him, and he kept paying these like BS reporters and stuff to like write up fake reports explaining that in Ukraine that the people were starving, and they not only were they not starving, but what was happening is that you had some rich landowners in the Ukraine who kept trying to, oh, life is so hard. Look at for the baby. He was just doing a big yawn. I know, life is so tough. Look at the babies. Hi, babies. Are you a good boy? Say hi to everybody. But not only did Stalin not starve the peasants, but there were some rich landowners that were hoarding the land, the crops, the implements. They were because you know, when the Soviet Union came along after the revolution, they were trying to the goal of the communists is they were trying to take away all the hoarding of the land and the resources that have been done, like that we see in all capitalist countries, right, including the U.S. You know, where you have a very few people at the top who have all the resources, and then you have a whole bunch of people. The vast majority of the rest of the people are all working nonstop, you know, scrambling just to survive. So anyway, it wasn't Stalin that they were saying that caused any problems. It was these rich landowners in the Ukraine. They were hoarding land, and they were actually charging the peasants who truly did have nothing. They were charging them rent to operate machinery. Otherwise, how they were growing food, the peasants, even in the 1920s, they were literally doing it by hand. They had no plows. They everything was by hand. So, I mean, can you imagine that? It's crazy. So anyway, they actually, the leaders of the Soviet Union, including Stalin, they actually stepped in, and they were trying to stop that. And they were successful, and then they ended up having they called them like collectivist farms, but I guess the Soviet Union had a history of most of their farms were collective, which is awesome. But then they had this class of people called the kulaks, and they, like I said, they had some money, And so they were hoarding land, hoarding resources, and basically becoming like, lording it over the peasants. And so the communists government with the Soviet Union, was like, hey guys, you can't do that. But of course, you're not going to hear that in the media, because William Randolph Hearst was a fascist, and he wanted to make Russia look bad, and he did not want, fairness and sharing of resources for the normal people. So he kept paying these people to write bogus reports. Anyway, it was nuts. But if you ask the average person today, they'll tell you that they learned that in school, or that they heard about it, and they'll say, oh, that's true, Stalin starved the peasants in Ukraine. It's not true. Henry Ford, the DuPont family, many other titans in the US were fascists. They attempted a coup trying to get Smedley Butler, the general, to overthrow FDR. Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that. I had always heard that, FDR was so pressured by that the only reason that he did the reforms he did is because they were afraid of a communist revolution here, just as it happened in Russia. But okay, that's interesting. I did not know that the really rich capitalists in the US attempted a coup. Oh, with the general Smedley Butler. What a name, too. What a name. Yeah, because, I was always taught in school that, like, FDR was a great hero and he was for the people. I've learned since then that he was not a great hero. He was not for the people as much as he was scared. He was scared. He and the other leaders, they were afraid that they were going to be, they were going to meet the same fate as the Tsar in the Tsarina of Russia. So, right, FDR saved capitalism, so that's why people have to realize it's like it's really easy to buy into like the Bernie stuff and these other leaders that say, well, just let's keep capitalism, let's just make it a little bit nicer. And then the problem is that the power structure always stays the same, right? So like I said, that's why I have a problem with how police and the military are used, because you see that, okay, if you're lucky enough to have some halfway decent, people in charge of them, then, maybe the state powers and resources, that the rich people control, maybe they stop. No, get away from that. Maybe they won't be used against you. But as we see what's happening with Trump and has happened, probably throughout the history of the United States, if you piss off these rich people, they will send all the police, the courts, they'll send everything after you. So that is the problem if we just, keep this capitalist system the way it is. Yeah. So you're right. FDR actually saved capitalism. When instead we actually want isn't that weird? Yeah, some of the rich people considered him a class traitor. It's like, no. And then ever since then, even the few reforms we did get, you'll notice that the capitalists have been chipping away at those, so that's why they always want to go after the post office, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. Stop. And you could go and look at the 60s and what happened under Johnson, and you could probably say something similar, because there was a lot of stuff going on in the 60s, and I think the reason why the government had Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, JFK, killed is because I think they were afraid, that there was going to be another potential revolution of the workers, because unfortunately, I got news for you guys. We have some democracy in our country, but this is not a country run by the workers, and that is what we want. We want a society that's run by the people. The people who are most affected by decisions and by power should be the ones making the decisions. To me, I think it's very basic. But sadly, today we have a very, 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 very sliver of democracy. The real truth is that if you look and you research into the way that right, democracy, hypocrisy. Exactly. If you look into like Venezuela and the different reforms that they've done over the years, like under Chavez, they started basically they changed how they administer the country. So they have local councils that meet and they vote on various things and you know ways that they want their part of the country run. And then they carry, I forget exactly how it is, but they basically carry some of those decisions up to the national level, and it goes up from there. But in other words, that why do you think Trump and a lot of these capitalist world leaders want you to hate Venezuela so bad? Because they don't want you. That's why they boycott them. Because it's like if they were such horrible people, why would you have an embargo? Why would you stop them from selling? You're a fucking capitalist. Sorry, shouldn't use that. I don't want YouTube to come after me, but you're a capitalist. Why would you say that Cuba or Venezuela or any country can't sell their goods? I thought it's like we thought you were a capitalist, right? So you know it's not about that. It's because they actually are trying to give people, real people, a voice. A dictatorship of the proletariat, right? So we need the workers, the real people, the average people that live and you know are just trying to survive to be in charge, not the bourgeoisie. And all that means is just bourgeoisie. It just means the people that control, you know, our land, our resources, our water, our food. You must let us oppress you, right? Right. It's like socialism is so horrible in like Venezuela, Cuba, and China, whatever, you know, that capitalist countries are it's so bad that like they lied to us about it. Our own leaders have to lie to us about it. They have to try to create wars and do trade embargoes. It's like whatever you think of it, like why don't you just, you know, we're supposed to believe in democracy. Why don't we just let those people run their country how they want to run it? And if it is a better system, why don't we learn some things from it? That's what I would say, you know? Anyway. All right, let me open up Facebook really fast here, and I want to find Jonathan's little interview that he did. Oh, wait, what's this? Oh, French response. Yeah, but there are a lot of French leaders that are guilty too. I don't know if I trust that. Okay, let me see. Oh, did you guys see what I made last night? My little baby burger. My little baby burger. Oh, and they released the names and the numbers of the people, the two guys that killed Alex Pret. Can you believe that they're Latino? I'm like, get out of here. Like that's freaking so disappointing. All right, Jonathan, let's see your interview. Okay, here it is. Here we go. Let's see. Hold on. How do I make this bigger? I'm sorry. You guys got to tell me if you can't see it. I always challenge people who fear monger about socialism to name one country that the US didn't directly or indirectly sabotage them for trying it. Right. Left Connect. Exactly. Yes. That's what I always say. Like with Cuba, I'm like, okay. If socialism in Cuba has been so bad, why is their healthcare system and their educational system better than ours, even though we have literally tried to kill their leaders for decades and stopped them from trading, like literally trying to starve them for decades, and their healthcare system is still better than ours? Like, anyway, it's crazy, man. Can you guys see that, or should I make it bigger? How's that? Is that a little bit better? That's a little bit better. They have a higher life expectancy among many other better outcomes. Right. I just shared that the other day. Yeah, that little Cuba chart. I was like, guys, this is freaking embarrassing. Like, stop letting our leaders lie to us about, oh, communism's bad, socialism's bad. God forbid we use our resources to help people, We should only be using our resources to help really rich people.
Muy de cerca esta reunión. Natalia, cuéntanos qué pasó en la votación.
Now, I do understand a little bit of Spanish, but Crook, this is where you have to help, maybe.
Enrique, buenas noches. No lograron ponerse de acuerdo y se estancaban en rondas de votos que siempre empataban. Esto fue lo que pasó. Votaron 2 veces.
So it says something. So they said something about, yes, they were supposed to choose the interim mayor last night and they failed. Something council, is it? No logran, I don't know what that, but basically they were not successful in electing and choosing an interim mayor.
Yes. Y pese a eso, la ciudad de Harvey no logró elegir a un alcalde interino luego del fallecimiento del alcalde Christopher Clark, ocurrido el pasado 30 de enero. ¿De quiénes está la batalla?
Está la concejal Trubinsky, el primer distrito, y el concejal del 5º distrito, Randall.
¿No crees que hace falta que haya una voz?
Very good, Jonathan. So this is Jonathan. He's a resident of the First Ward. He's running for First Ward Alderman in the election next year.
¿Latina aquí en el consejo?
Sí, eso hace falta mucho la voz latina. En la comunidad de Harvey de latinos somos 30 al 40% de la comunidad. Y no sé si se dio cuenta, pero éramos muy pocos latinos aquí en la Junta. Y es tiempo de que como comunidad latina nos acerquemos a saber qué está pasando en nuestra comunidad.
Okay, Crook, are you listening, Crook? But basically, I understood the gist of what he was saying. He was saying that Harvey's more than 30% Latino now. So we need you. If you are a Spanish speaker in Harvey, you need to come out. Stop hiding. Don't be afraid. As you can see with this ICE crap under Trump, if you are afraid and you hide, that will not protect you. These people will come and find you unless you fight back, and you're not alone. But you gotta fight for our city. They have a higher life expectancy. Imagine what they could do without a 70-year embargo. I know can you believe we've done that to the Cuban people for 70 years? It's just straight up, like literally, when they talked about in the early 2000s, the war on terror and everything, like we're literally the terrorists. Like our country is. Like what we do to other countries, it's horrible. And then they called this the imperial boomerang, or the boomerang effect. So a lot of the atrocities that we have committed against other countries, now that capitalism is in danger because people are seeing that this does not work, they call that one of the terms is like the imperial boomerang, or the boomerang effect. So then we see the same repression techniques that have been used on other countries for, since the U.S. was founded. We see that being used now on our people. And then all of a sudden, especially certain privileged people, right? Like if you were maybe a little bit protected because of your race, or because maybe you were, a lawyer and not like a factory worker, now people are realizing like they don't give a what, like they'll go after anybody. Well, duh, that's what fascism does. Capitalism does. Capitalism very quickly turns to fascism when it's threatened, right? Because you cannot take away those rich people's toys. They would rather shoot you. That's what we're seeing right now. How is Chicago dealing with ICE? It's still an issue. We have, it depends on where you're at. In the city, I would say it's better organized, but like in our area in the Southland, in the south suburbs, especially far south side, we don't get as much help or attention. People can kind of tend to ignore us, so that is not good. We are the baddies. Yes, exactly. Unfortunately, we are. And fascism is when imperialism is turned inward, right? And a lot of people, like I said, especially people that maybe are white, or they have maybe they had a job that has been relatively secure, you know, they're starting to realize that that's not going to protect them. When capitalists are and the imperialists, when they're threatened, man, they'll take your job. They don't care, man. So that's why we all have to stick together and realize that the majority of us, we're, whatever you want to call it, the people, the proletariat, the workers, the 99%, you know, we're the vast majority. Okay. Now you do have some class traitors in there though, so keep that in mind. Like a lot of the police, you see them and these ICE people, they don't get all the stuff that the rich get. They're just being traitors, you know, for a few bucks. I mean, you know, so that those are some examples of who we call class traitors. How close are you to Hinsdale? So we're about like 40 minute drive from Hinsdale. So we're in the south suburbs and Hinsdale's in the west suburbs. Temporarily embarrassed millionaires. Right, exactly. That's how they train us to think of ourselves.
Extraordinaria se realizó la noche de este lunes en el ayuntamiento de Harvey con el objetivo de elegir al alcalde interino entre los 6 concejales. La convocatoria generó gran expectativa.
Oh, okay. So she said, yeah, I think she said something like, you know, we'll have to choose next Monday. And then they play a little bit of me. Let me see if I can understand what she says.
Entre la comunidad, pero la falta de una decisión final provocó molestia y frustración entre varios residentes que asistieron a esta reunión.
This administration is really selfish.
Esta administración es realmente egoísta.
Oh, Nicole's interview. I don't know. I thought she said she still lived in Naperville, though. Does she really live in Harvey? Anyway, I know. I did see her there.
Parece absurdo. En este punto, la comunidad está sufriendo. Los concejales no piensan en el pueblo. Harvey es una ciudad diversa con casi 20,000.
Oh yeah, look. See. 39, I guess they're saying. I know it was more than 30. They're saying 39% Latino, guys. See? Come on, Latinos in Harvey. Let's go. Let's get activated. Stop being afraid. There are tons of you. Let's all stand up for what we want, for good government.
Donde los hispanos constituyen más del 39% de la población, según datos del censo. Y una residente latina es María de Los Ángeles, originaria de Aguascalientes, México, dueña de uno de los pocos restaurantes.
Oh, okay. So Maria, I don't know if I've met her. They said she's originally from I think, what is that, Southwest Mexico? Aguascalientes. That's where she's from.
Que aún quedan en la ciudad. Es en el mismo lugar hace ya 20 años. ¿Qué está pasando en Harvey?
Pues
So 20 years? Something 20 years.
lo que está pasando en Harvey es que es un pueblo, ya casi se le parece un pueblo fantasma, porque está destruido completamente, casas de basura en todos los callejones.
Oh, basura, trash, understood. Trash.
Las casas están destruidas, quemadas.
Houses destroyed.
Y pues que el nuevo alcalde pues haga algo para levantar este pueblo.
En 2 semanas el consejo se vuelve.
So something about the people. So I didn't understand all of that. But Crook, I lost you, Crook. You know you're supposed to help with this stuff. Hey, come inside. Be back. Come on. This dog. Are you out here? Come on. Come inside. Come on. Go downstairs. Downstairs. Thank you. Go. Greedy white racists are trying to lock in minority rule before they become the minority. Right? Yep, that's a part of it too. Right. You know, unfortunately, as we've seen many times in history, people will use race as you know, as another tool of oppression. You know, it's just really sad. It's really, really, really sad.
reunir para tratar de encontrar un consenso y elegir al alcalde interino que estará en el cargo hasta abril de 2027. Por el momento, la alcaldesa en funciones es Shirley Drewinski, desde el ayuntamiento de Harvey.
Okay, I understood that. So yes, for the moment, since they were not able to decide, they're going to have to vote again next Monday, and Shirley will continue to be mayor pro tem until then.
Natalia Girard, N+, Univision Chicago.
Natalia, muchísimas gracias por actualizar la situación allá en ese suburbio. Tuvimos un lunes en donde...
Oh, they were clapping for Jonathan. Good job, Jonathan. Good job. You know what's funny too is I don't know what I was gonna say. I forgot. But that's nice. I would love to meet that Maria lady. That Maria. I'll have to ask Jonathan about that. Oh, let me see. Oh no, it's kind of late. He might not be up because he does a roofing job. I want Jonathan to come on the show though. Again, he was interviewed last night at the Harvey meeting, and he's running for the first ward. I'm running for the second ward. Does anybody know anything about Astound? Someone said Astound is an alternative to the Comcast and Infinity. Yeah, well, Comcast, Xfinity, they meant. Comcast. Monopoly. My municipality does not allow competition from Astound because of a sweetheart deal between Homewood and Comcast. Astound service is decent and much less expensive once it's installed. Does anybody have Astound? I think I've heard of that. Monica Lewinsky? Oh, I don't know. I didn't hear that, but hey, Paul. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Like I said, we're not gonna. They're gonna try again next Monday for the interim mayor, unless you have anything else. Oops, wait, someone just sent me something. What was this? Oh, ICE agents. Oh, I get it. ICE agents still in hospital after being shot repeatedly by iPhones. Exactly, right? Like, we're fighting fascism, people. Paul says Comcast is still the only high-speed internet service provider in Lansing. We definitely need more competition with that. That's where, like, I would be a fan. Anything that is necessary to survive in society, water, food, our utilities, including internet. Like, I think it should be owned and managed by the people. These companies, they make way too much money, man. And how can you survive without internet anymore? I mean, you really can't. It's become a utility that we need. Yep, high-speed internet's important. Public ownership. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Left Connect. Exactly. Exactamente. No. Look who thinks he's getting something. Water, electricity, internet, housing, jobs, healthcare. Exactly. And then people can still have little businesses and stuff, but the basics should all be run by the people for the people. Verizon runs fiber optic cable only in the wealthy suburbs. There you go. If you leave it up to capitalism, they'll always screw you over. And then at the end of the day, the crazy thing is that infrastructure belongs to a private company for a good that people really need nowadays. I don't agree with that, man. The Soviets knew what they were doing. That's why China's kicking everyone's butt in the world economy right now, because all that basic infrastructure, they still allow private businesses, but all the most important, they call in the Chinese call it the height. What is it? Left Connect, the heights of the Chinese. In China, the government controls the commanding heights of the economy, something like that. But basically, you know, everything like the banks, you know, all utilities, the land, like for instance, when they want to build really good public transit, you know, the government controls the land, so you don't have to, you know, worry about. Wait, hold on. Oh, that's a good one too. You know, you don't have to worry about paying for, you know, when we try to do projects like that here, land acquisition and stuff, it's just a huge headache. I'm getting me a CB. Crook, is that where you went? Like what, a CB radio? What are you talking about? A CB and an RB? What do you mean, Crook? Central planning, baby, all the way. Yes. Left Connect, is this you? Are you texting me? It says, those damn socialists. Chattanooga, Tennessee has the only taxpayer-owned public internet. 50 times faster speed than the rest of the country. Quick, someone get them a rich, greedy, you know what, to fix this. Oh, that's true. Okay, I thought that was you. I was like, wait, who's sending me this? That's you. Okay, y'all. Welcome back again, and say hi, unless, well, Paul or Left Connect or anybody else, if you wanted to say anything else, or if you had any other questions or issues. Otherwise, I'm going to get off here. I'm going to get on my TikTok. And you're welcome to follow. Brian's Gay Chicago is also my name on TikTok. You know, I try to do a little bit of live there every night, and my live here. I'm trying to get into the habit of that. The Politburo standing community. Yeah. Oh, won't let you send pics in chat? Oh, yeah, that's true. I guess not on YouTube. Yeah, you're right. Okay, good night, guys. Ciao for now. Like I said, if you want to say hi in TikTok, that's where I'm headed out to right now. All power to the people, right? Yes, power to the people. Yes, and to the animals too, obviously, right? They don't like capitalism either, right, puppies? Okay, ciao for now.